right. Welcome, Mr. Victor. Confirm, please, you can hear me. All right. Okay. You're welcome, Mr. Victor. Yes, we have you live now.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, we have been, waiting for you to join us, and it's our pleasure to be your host this morning. To treat a very important topic, very, very critical at this moment, sharpening critical thinking and problem solving at work. And as I mentioned earlier, to say that this webinar is designed to strengthen individuals' ability to assess and solve workplace challenges, develop a structured approach to critical thinking and decision making, and foster a problem solving mindset that enhance productivity and innovation. And I believe you are going to do justice to that today. And it's going to be an exciting and insightful section for all. Mr. Victor, please, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ade. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Zuria Resources. It's a delight to be here. I hope I'm clear. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm so excited to be here. It's a
Yes,
special
perfectly.
day for me. Um, can everybody hear me?
Yes,
I
yes,
believe
please go
everybody
ahead.
can hear me. Okay, right. So my name is Victor Ifyum. I'm sure the introductions have been done. I'll just cut the chase and move on right to our presentation for today. I've been around for a while, not a long while, just a short while. Um, I've been into many things from lecturing in university to banking, working in the UK, and also in healthcare. So I'm into a lot of things here and there. And I've been in the human resource space for 13 years plus now. And it's a passion for me anytime I'm called upon to speak at different seminars and webinars and also conferences where I have to speak about something that is passionate to me in human resource. So thank you so much, Zuria Resources, for um, taking a risk to invite me for this. I don't look like the picture that you are seeing there because I'm not wearing a suit. It is Saturday, so I'm wearing a t-shirt as you can see. So no suit today. It says Saturday. Incidentally, it's a good day for me. It's also my birthday, so I've been having a lot of distractions here and there. So that's why I am joining in a bit behind schedule. So once again, thank you so much, and it's a great day for me to share my birthday to with you, and I look forward to a good time today. So let's get to work. So sharpening critical thinking and problem solving at work. That's what we're going to be looking at very quickly. All right. So if you look clearly at my next slide, this slide here, this is my plan for this presentation. I'll just be touching and talking to um, the five circles around sharpening critical thinking. So I'll be talking to these five circles: work, problems, solutions, value, and of course, critical thinking. So I'm going to be talking to those 5 points and then we'll call it a wrap. I know it's a Saturday, we all have things we are doing today. All right, so next slide, sir. Okay, so let's start with work. I pretty much think that this summarizes what work looks like for everybody. Work has to do with reports, responsibilities assigned to you, results that you must deliver upon, accountability, you must account for what has been given to you, ownership of tasks that have been assigned to you, and of course, problem solving. No excuses. This is summarily what work is for everybody in this session today. I believe that this captures everything for everybody. Let me quickly throw some light on responsibility and accountability as I move on. so that this slide is very clear. So we already know what results are, what reports we are to write and give to our superiors. But responsibility and accountability are two different words. Okay. Responsibility speaks to assigned task. Assigned task. So that's where you get the word job responsibility. So job description, assigned task. So responsibility speaks to that. What are the things you are responsible for? While accountability speaks to outcomes. What are the things that you are supposed to have delivered on, and what outcomes have you brought about by reason of the job description that you were given? So while responsibility is task focused, responsibility is task focused. Accountability, on the other hand, is outcome focused. So I thought I should put that out there so that that's out of the way. So we have reports, results, we have responsibility, accountability, ownership, and then, of course, problem solving. This summarizes what work is about in the office space. All right, let's move to the next slide. I won't be spending much time on work. Okay, so I would begin to spend some time here. This is where we would start delving deeper. Okay, so first of all, I like to say this. In the first place, it's important that you know that when there is no problem, then there is a problem, because there should be a problem. Otherwise, why are you at the workplace? Okay, if you saw my previous slide on work, one of the things that we do at work is to solve problems. So there must be a problem. So first of all, we start by anticipating what problems are possible that could arise. So you anticipate problems. Okay, after anticipating the problems, the next thing is we begin to identify what problems can possibly arise now. So you've passed the problem anticipation stage, you move to problem identification. So you try to identify what problems could arise. After identifying the problem, the next thing is to document the problem. That's when we start taking some records, start taking some events down in writing, so that everybody knows that there is a problem we have anticipated, we have identified it, and hey, we are taking note of it by writing it down, that here's the problem that is soon to happen. We have identified that this is a problem that is going to be happening shortly. So we've identified that, we've documented it. The next thing to do now is called a root cause analysis. Now, a root cause analysis in different literature, in summary, just has to speak about the five whys. The five whys. So you keep asking why until you get to the root cause. What exactly happened that caused this problem to emanate? Okay, so let's give an example. Let's assume there is no water in the office. So the first question you want to ask is, why is there no water? Okay, there is no water because the taps are not working clearly or not working properly. Why are the taps not working properly? The taps are not working properly because the plumber did not make it to work on time to do his duties, as it were. All the things that were assigned to him, he didn't do them. Why didn't the plumber come to work on time? You keep asking the why until you get to the real cause of the problem. So that's what root cause analysis is about. Then you move to innovation. And from here, we are beginning to think of ways to solve the problem. So we are moving from root cause analysis, and then we create certain ideas towards solving the problem. And from innovation stage, we move to escalation. Escalation is a point where you report this problem to an authority that is higher than you. Having explored different options at innovation stage, explore different creative ideas at innovation stage, you want to escalate the problem where you have been unable to reach some kind of a definitive solution. So what I want to say as talking to this slide before I move to the next slide is this: a problem is actually a solution in disguise for a solution minded person. You want to take that down? A problem is a solution in disguise for a solution minded person. I thought I should say that very quickly. Right. So that's what a problem is. So let's move to solutions quickly. All right. So before I talk about solution, let me piggyback on my previous slide. Now, nothing qualifies as a problem if it doesn't have a solution. If it doesn't have a solution, it doesn't qualify as a problem. So, what qualifies a problem to be called a problem is that there must be a solution in place. Remember, I said in my opening when I was talking about the previous slide, the problem is not the problem. The problem is not actually the problem. And I also said that no problem is a problem in itself. So a problem is actually a solution in disguise for a solution minded person. Right. So let's look at solution. So there is a book titled Why Ask Why? Simon Sinek. I don't know how many of us are Simon Sinek followers here, but I would advise that we read it. Very, very enlightening book, and it throws a lot of light on the why. So he talks about starting with the why, and that's why we're starting with the why on this slide. Okay. So for solution, we are starting with the why. Why is it important to solve the problem? Why? What is it adding to us or multiplying for us as we solve the problem? So, why? Why? So, the why of the solution is very important. It's important that we start there and then we begin to look at the who. Who are we solving the problem for? Who is the beneficiary of this problem? Who is the beneficiary of this problem? Is it a problem that you are solving for individuals or you are solving this problem for generations? Is it a problem for the now or you are solving this problem for the future? So you want to look at the who. Who are we solving this problem for? Okay. Another part of the solution is the what. What are we going to do? So, what are we doing that needs to speak about solutions? So, what are we doing? What do we want to achieve? So, that answers the what. What are the alternatives? If option A does not work, do we have an option B? So, what are the alternatives? And then we also want to look at the when. What is the time? When is the timing to bring on board the solution? So we look at the when for the solution. When are we bringing up the solution? Is it the right time to bring up the solution? Is it the right season to bring up the solution? Is there a special situation that would need to happen for us to bring up our solutions? Okay. And then finally, how do we deliver this solution? So first of all, we look at the SMSL model. We'll be talking about that down. There's a slide I'm going to talk to this some more. So, but how? What must we start to do now? That's the how. How we are going to deliver the solution now. What must we start to do now? What must we do more of now? I'm speaking to the how now. What must we stop doing now? What must we stop doing now? And what must we do less of now? All of these speak to the solutions. All of these speak to the solution. The problem focused person will ask questions like, when did the problem begin? But the solution focused person will ask a question like, when do we start solving? So that's the difference between a problem-minded person and a solution-minded person. The problem-minded person is asking, when did this problem begin? The solution minded person is asking, when do we start solving the problem? Are we together? So, accepting responsibility for the solution, even if you didn't cause the problem, you are beginning on the path of critical thinking. You are on that path clearly. So, you accept responsibility for the solution, even if you are not the one that caused the problem. Are we on the same page? Are we together? Okay, so very quickly before I move to my next slide, I would like to add this. Solving problems must be as important to you as it is important to the person you are solving the problem for. I'll take that again. Solving problems must be important to you as much as it is important to the person you are solving the problem for. That's very key. I thought I should say that before I leave this slide. All right, so let's look at the next slide, please. Right, so beginning to have some distractions. Birthday calls are coming in. Okay, so value. A lot of things we're going to be talking about today will be based on value. I was rushing through to get to this point because this is where the action is going to start. Okay, so value. What is value? What is value? So value, I try to capture it in different points. Okay, I try to capture it in different points. One of the points I wrote down here is, how much of help are you helping people get what they want by the impact you are making? How much of help are you helping somebody? Now, let me say this: every time you create a solution to a problem, you have added value. Every time a solution is created, value is created. So value is in the problems that you are solving on a daily basis. Value is in the problems you are solving on a daily basis. So the difference between your existence, what your existence makes, is the gateway to the future. That is the value that you are bringing. Can I say this? This is very, very important. I don't know if you are ready for this. You need to know the DNA to deliver the value. Now, somebody is going to ask, what is DNA? I'm going to say that very quickly. DNA means desires, needs, and aspirations. You want to take that down? Desire, needs, and aspirations. I believe that one of the reasons why God put us here on earth is for us to deliver value. And anytime we have not delivered value, we have wasted God's gift. We have clearly wasted God's gift. So you must know the desires of the person or the set of people we are working with, their needs, their aspirations, to be able to deliver the value that they want. To be able to deliver the value that they want. Now, value is anything that people are willing to pay money for. So I'm wearing a smartwatch. I don't know if you can see. I'm wearing a smartwatch. Now, if I put this smartwatch down and I said that this smartwatch costs, it's an example now, $100. Okay, so this smartwatch costs $100. Anybody that is willing to put down $100 for this smartwatch means that the smartwatch has value to that person, to the extent that the person is willing to pay $100 for it. If somebody else comes and says, I'm willing to pay double of that for that smartwatch, $200, it means that it is worth for that person $200 value, that the person is willing to pay $200 for that. Are we together? So ask yourself, are you adding value? Are you adding value in your place of work? Now, let me put this out there. The work that we do on a 9 to 5, I must say this very quickly. The work we do on a 9 to 5 is not what we are paid for. We are not paid for the time that we are working. We're actually paid for the value. Somebody might work from 9 to 3 and deliver more value than somebody who works from 9 to 5. I'll take that again. We are actually paid for the value we are bringing to the table, not necessarily for the time we are giving. Some people can deliver more value in a shorter time than somebody who works a longer time, even with overtime, and not deliver as much value with somebody who delivered at a shorter time. Okay, so I said that again. I'm going to say it again. The more value, the more solutions we solve, the more value we create. The more solutions we solve, the more value we create. Right. So I was rushing to get to this point. Value conversion cycle. I'm going to be taking this from problem. Let's start from problem again. Okay. So for us to convert problem to value, I'm going to show us now. Number one, we start from the problem. We first of all, we have anticipated the problem, we have identified the problem, we have taken note of the problem, we have applied our root cause analysis to the problem, we have brought about innovation to the table, we have escalated the problem, right? That was problem. Now we came up and we said, hey, the solution. What's the solution to the problem? Okay. So, what is our solution to the problem? We said solution is what? What is the thing that you are bringing to the table? Okay. That's what we said solution is. The value that you are bringing to the table. How much of the problem you are able to solve? That's what we said solution is. You are fulfilled from a problem when you are solving it. Right. So, we talk about solution and we said solution, we looked at three things. Number one, excitement comes when you are solving problems. You are fulfilled when you are solving problems. You are fulfilled when you are solving problems. You also apply the SMSL model. We talked about start, what the things you can start, the things you can do more of, the things you need to stop, and then the things you need to do less of. Okay, so that's for solution. Then value. We just finished talking about value, but I brought value through a 4D principle. Somebody wants to take the 4D principle down. Number one, you discover. You discover the value. You first of all, you discover the value. What is the value that, or what are the people that I want to deliver this value to? So you discover those people. The next thing you want to do is to develop the solution to that product. So after you have discovered the people that you are going to deliver the value to, okay, you develop a solution to that product. You develop a solution to that problem. The next thing you want to do is to deploy that solution or that product to the hands of the people that you have initially discovered. And then you want to now deliver on the value. Okay. So we said there are 4 Ds. You discover the people, you deliver, you develop the solution, you deploy that product from the solution that you have gotten. You have developed the solution into a product. So you deploy that product to the hands of the people, and then of course you deliver value. Okay, so that's for uh yes, that's value. And then wealth. Every time you deliver value, wealth is created. Somebody's asking me how. I'm going to tell you. How is wealth created when you deliver value? This is it, guys. When you get a need met, when somebody's desires, needs, and aspirations are met, and there is a reward paid to you, either in cash or in material resource, that reward translates to wealth. Somebody get it in here. So, wealth is the reward you get from the value you delivered. And then from wealth, you are able to manage the wealth and it becomes prosperity. I took time to speak about it on this right side. After speaking about it in a secular fashion, I took time to speak some more on the right side. I said, problem is you look at the person, you look at the process, you look at the product. Okay, is a problem caused by a person? Is a problem caused by a process? Is a problem caused by a product? Okay, I looked at it from that angle. Then I said, solutions. Okay, who is the person we're solving the problem for? What, when? You remember my matrix in the previous slide when we talked about the who, what, when, and how, and the why, of course. Then we talk about the after problem, we talk about value. Value. We talked about 4Ds. So when we talk about 4Ds of value, we talked about these 4Ds so that we can also have three I's. You want to take my three I's down? Three I's. What are the three I's? Influence, impact, and income. Influence. Whenever you deliver value, you have influenced a group of people in a positive manner. So you have delivered value. Somebody is influenced by the value you have delivered. Impact. What is impact? Impact is, I like to say it this way. When I talk about impact, I try to put it side by side with contact. There's a difference between impact and contact. Contact is I touch this screen, I've made contact with this screen. But when I touch the screen and the screen cracks, then I have made impact. Impact is the residue you leave behind when you have made contact with somebody. I'll take that again. I'll take that again in case I was too fast. Impact is the residue you leave behind when you have made contact with a person or you have made contact with an organization. So, are you making impact? And then lastly, income. So I told you before that every time you deliver value, you get a reward. So income comes. And then we talked about wealth. Okay. We said wealth is what? The reward, okay, for the value you created. So what is the value I've created? What is the reward? It translates to wealth. Okay. And there are, oh, I hope time will permit me to say this. Wealth, there are four types of wealth. Number one, social wealth. I'm rushing now because of time. Social wealth. What is social wealth? Social wealth has to do with the amount of connections and goodwill capital that you have. A lot of times when people look at wealth, they talk about money, 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 and material things. But it's not just money. So we talk about social wealth. Okay. Allow me to use the good book. The Bible talks in Proverbs, I think 22 verse 1, when it speaks about favor is more important than what you have. So favor with people is more important than money. Yes, because there are some doors that money with people, there are some doors that people will be able to open that money cannot open. Are we still together? Right. So that's number one, social wealth. Next thing is financial wealth. This one is very popular. So you have financial wealth by reason of stocks, investments, money is making money for you while you are asleep. Okay. So that is for financial wealth. Then we talk about wealth when it comes to time wealth. How much time do you have? I can't see my slide again. Can't see my slide again. Mr. Ade, are you still there? Okay. Okay, I'll just go on. Okay, so I was speaking about the four types of wealth. So I've talked about social wealth, I've talked about financial wealth, I've talked about time wealth. How much time do you have? Okay, in terms of the resources at your disposal, do you have enough time to enjoy the money you have and the social capital you have? And then the last one is physical wealth. And physical wealth has to do with your physical well being. Are you healthy enough to enjoy the wealth? There's a popular saying that health is wealth. So you need to be healthy to enjoy the wealth. And I think the Bible puts it clearly in Ecclesiastes 5:19 or so that you need to have health to enjoy the wealth. Okay. So So much for wealth, and then of course prosperity. Prosperity is how you manage, multiply, and then of course how you maintain money. So manage, maintain, and multiply money. Okay, so I have a short video I want to play now. Mr. Ade, I don't know if you can help me with my video. We're going to look at a video very quickly, and then I will wrap it up after the video.
Disastrous situations. So I got my guys together and I said, hey, we got a problem here. I was trained for another submarine. You're trained to do whatever nonsense comes out of my mouth. That's right, Captain. I mean, they knew. They already knew. I was pretty much talking to myself. So I said, what are we going to do? What are we going to do, guys? And we talked about it. Okay, what I really wanted to do was get ready for the inspection. But we were sitting in the wardroom. We spent a couple hours. We were talking about it. And we came up with all these different things. And, well, you Captain, you just got to be smarter. You got to give better orders. It's like, well, how am I going to learn a whole nuclear submarine, miles of valves and pipes? I spent a year learning Olympia, 2 weeks over here. So in a year we'll be safe? That's not going to work. We had to deploy the submarine in 6 months. So we talked about it, and they said, okay, there's only one logical solution. We figured it out. They're pointing at me, you shut up. And I thought about it, and you know what? They were right. So at that point, I vowed never to give another order. And if you came down on my submarine, it would have been very confusing, because you couldn't have pointed. It would have been hard to say, well, who's the captain here? Because you wouldn't have seen me giving orders. I did retain one order. The final order to launch a weapon, a torpedo or a missile, I kept with me, because I felt that since that was going to result in the deaths of other human beings, that I didn't want that on anyone's conscience but mine. That was my moral and ethical responsibility. But even though everything else in the Navy, there's long lists of things that says the captain has to authorize. Captain should authorize. You got a couple nukes in your group, they'll tell you it's true. Captain authorize, submerge the ship, get underway, start up the reactor, shut down the reactor, connect to shore power, divorce from shore power, on and on, break rig for dive, on and on and on, pages of these things. I just refused to give those orders. What we replaced it with was intent. Instead of giving instructions, if you want your people to think, don't give instructions, give intent. So they would come to me, hey, what do you want me to do? Well, left full rudder, steady course 255. No. I said, well, what are we trying to accomplish here today? Well, we're trying to get in position so that when the enemy submarine comes through, okay, so where do you think we should position the ship? Maybe over here. Good idea, go there. You give intent to them and they give intent to you. So my officer stopped requesting permission. And every other submarine, Captain, request permission to submerge the ship. Submerge the ship. Submerge the ship, aye. On Santa Fe, Captain, I intend to submerge the ship. Very well. And they did it. And it might seem like it's a very small, nuanced change of language, but it was hugely powerful, because the psychological ownership now shifts to them. They need to discover the answer. Otherwise, you're always the answer man. You can never go home and eat dinner. And so we started doing this. And it was hugely powerful. Actually, we went another step. Then I got smarter and I said, when the officer said, Captain, I intend to submerge the ship, I would ask him, well, what do you think I'm thinking right now? And he'd look at me, hard to tell. I'm guessing you're wondering whether it's safe. Bingo! I said, well, convince me it's safe. He said, Captain, I intend to submerge the ship. All men are below, hatches are shut, ship's rigged for dive. I checked the bottom depth. The submarine's in the water that's been assigned to us. Then later I would ask them, is it the right thing to do? And they would say, well, yes, sir, because our mission requires that we... And these are the two pillars that I think support this idea of giving control. These are the two pillars that need to be in place. The the technical competence, which is represented by, is it safe, and the organizational clarity, which is represented by, is it the right thing to do? And you put those things in place, and then you can give control, and you give control, and you put those things in place. And you are off to the races. So think about what's happening now. My officers are starting to think like me, because I have to think like, where should we do the ship? And so the guys below them. Now this took 24 hours to happen. It took a couple years for the full implementation, but immediately there was change. We received another inspection. A year later, we received an inspection. The inspecting team gave us the highest grade they had ever seen. Not that year, not in the Pacific, ever seen. Why? I mean, this crew had a captain who was a dummy. It's because that needle started moving up. And on another submarine, there was one guy in charge, one guy giving orders, one guy thinking, and 134 people doing what they're told. I don't care how smart you are. On my submarine, I got 135 thinking, active, passionate, creative, proactive, taking initiative people. It's a tidal wave. You don't stand a chance. Here's the solution. Move the authority to where the information is. You mean the software engineer can decide whether we ship the software? Yeah. You mean the client, my salesman can close the deal? Well, up to $1,000. No. Yes. Whatever the price? Yes. What does it take to make that happen? Now, if you're picturing a lot of people out there doing crazy things and a bunch of arrows going in a bunch of different directions, you have the wrong picture. You create the environment so that those people are out there making decisions as if the CEO were standing right behind them. And if it's not the same decision, it's actually a better decision because they have the information. And not only will you get better speed of execution, because now you don't have this delay, what happens is those people feel like they matter because they're thinking. You engender thinking. You create the environment for thinking. The secret is, nothing I said is hard. There's nothing hard. The only thing that's hard is you. It will feel wrong. You've been genetically and culturally programmed to take charge and make it happen. Take control and attract followers. And what you want is to give control and create leaders. It will feel wrong, and you will repeatedly start down this path if you so choose, and then you'll be angry at yourself like I was. And you will have a failure, and you'll go back to the old ways. And you will pick yourself up, and you will go again. You will go again. And by doing so, you will achieve the greatest thing possible. You will have achieved greatness, not because of the deeds and acts that you did, but because you set an environment where the people around you and their families and their schools and their organizations and their businesses, they've achieved greatness. That will be the greatest thing of all. Go forth and be great.
That video. Yes, so I'd like to hear thoughts on the video. Yes, what did we pick out of that video very clearly? Just want to use that to close this session. Yes. You want to put in the comment section clearly what did we take away from that video. You want to put in the comment section. Yes. Anybody want to tell us what we learned from that video? Yes, anybody? Okay, so before the comments start coming in, I want to say this. You would recall that I said what you are paid for is the value that you deliver, not the time 9 to 5 that you spend in the office. It's actually the value. That's what you are paid for. So let me use myself as an example. Every time I stand before my boss, this is what I do. Every time I'm with a problem, I don't present a problem to my boss. I present a problem and the two possible likely solutions that we can deploy to solve the problem. And then I throw in, which one do you think is a better idea? That's better than me just coming to say, we have a problem, sir. I just came to tell you about it. Okay? So that's the reason why I shared that video. Yes, I want to hear thoughts on that video. Yes, anybody wants to share thoughts on the video? Okay, I think I'm out of time. I'm running out of time now. Let me just quickly share a few things from the video. So very quickly, um, one of the things the captain did was to ensure that people started thinking. So he made sure everybody was thinking. That was one of the things that the captain did. So everybody started thinking. They didn't leave all the thinking for just the captain, and then the captain became the hero or Captain America. He just was there to only make sure he gives only one, which is to fire a missile. And that one and only thing that he's supposed to do and can only do is what he left out for them. But he made sure that they were thinking. Another thing he did was that he gave in intent instead of instructions. Okay, you ask them, what do you think I'm thinking? So he gave intent instead of instructions. That's another thing he did. Then he delivered some kind of psychological ownership. He shifted that psychological ownership to his staff. Okay, so that he's not always the person giving all the answers. He made sure the staff had some level of ownership of the decisions they were taking, which is very key. And then he asked them from time to time, what do you think? He asked, what do you think? Or what do you think I'm thinking? He would ask that. Then you remember those two pillars he talked about. He talked about two pillars, yes, technical competence and organizational clarity. So he didn't just give control, he considered technical competence. So is this person competent enough to be able to take the decision? Technically competent enough to take a decision. And then there is a clarity in terms of where the organization is going. He talked about that. Another thing that the video spoke to me about was you move the authority to where the information is so that there is a better speed of execution. He spoke about that. And then people began to take decisions as if the CEO was standing behind them. That for me was very apt. Excuse me. Okay. So he created a thinking whereby he gave people control so that he could create leaders. All right. So that's what that video summarily tells us. I'm running out of time, so I'll just move on to the next slide. And I think I just have one or two slides left. This is a worksheet. If this was a live class where we were live one-on-one, we would have tried to use different organizations to do this worksheet. But I will take some time to explain this worksheet so that maybe you want to take it back to your different organizations and apply it. Okay. So number one, the first column here after the serial number is task. So you have task, then another column here is value for customer, value for staff, value for vendors and suppliers, and then improve organizational efficiency. So first things first, you want to start with value for customer. What are the things that are value for your customer? So you want to write them down one by one. The things that are value for my customer, number one, my customer, I don't want them to waste time when they come in to my organization. I want them to be quickly attended to and leave. Number two, I want my customers to feel heard. Okay, so that's value for my customers. Yeah, so you want to write all of that down. You want to also write value for staff. What are the things that are value for staff? One of the things that is value for staff, for instance, is work-life balance. A lot of people want a work-life balance such that the work life, there's a balance. It's not just about work, 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 work. So that's value for staff. Another thing that is value for staff is people want to be able to go on leave when they are due to go on leave. That's also value for staff. Another thing that is value for staff is salaries. Month end is already here. People want to be paid on time, not that there is any delay into the second month or the month that is coming after. So value for staff. So you want to write all of that down as value for staff, and then value for vendors, suppliers, clients, the people that you serve, or vendors that supply you certain things in your organization. So what are the things that are value to them? So value for suppliers, number one, will be speedy payment. They want to be paid on time. That's number one for vendor. There's no vendor that wants his money trapped or her money trapped. They want to be paid their monies on time. Number two, vendors always like timely orders. So if you give them an order, for instance, now, and you tell them to supply, it's important you give them advance notice. So for them, that's value, that you are calling them ahead and telling them that you want something supplied by next week Friday, for instance. So you begin to call them from now. So that's value for them. And then you want to write down things that would improve organizational efficiency for your organization. What are the things that will improve our efficiency as an organization? So you want to talk about, maybe it's the facility ambience. So you want to talk about that. You want to write it down and put all of this together. At the end of looking at the value for customer, value for staff, value for vendors, and improving organizational efficiency, you want to write down tasks and assign them to different people to be able to execute and deliver on the values. And of course, the places where you need to improve the organizational efficiency. So, like I said, I would not be able to deal so much on this because I wish it was a live class where we had a board and then we would have been able to delve deeper into this. And then I move to, I think this should be my last slide as I round up. Right. So we're talking about, don't forget, we said the topic is sharpening critical thinking. We're sharpening critical thinking. And as we're sharpening critical thinking, we're not just sharpening it, we're sharpening it for problem solving at work. We're sharpening critical thinking and solving problems at work. That's what all of this is about. So I want to speak to the TWAHC model. Some of us may have heard about it, but this is the way that I have decided to coin it. So everything in the world today starts at the thought realm. Everything in the world today started at the thought realm. Okay, are we clear? Everything in the world today started at the thought realm. So thoughts, okay, give rise to words. So after you have thought about it, you begin to speak. So I think the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So after thinking about it, you begin to say them out. So T, thoughts, W, words. So you begin to verbalize your thoughts. And then actions. Okay, after you have said it so many times, you begin to act it out. Okay, so words will give rise to actions, and then actions will give rise to habits when you have done it over and over again. And then habits, H, give rise to C, character. Okay, and that becomes a character for you over time. So it starts from the thought realm. So thoughts is T, W is words, A is action, and H is habits. Then C is what? C is what? Yes, character. Character. Right. So TWAHC model. So take a look at this for a moment with me. There is no water. Remember, I talked about presenting problems to your boss in the office or your CEO. So I come to tell my boss, there is no water. That is problem. I just told him the problem. I've not done anything. Now, how about if I told him, sir, we need water from XYZ Nigeria Limited and ABC Resource Enterprises for us to be able to deliver on what our clients want. I have gone ahead to find out XYZ Nigeria Limited are going to be able to supply in the next 30 minutes, but ABC Resource Enterprises can only be here in 2 hours. I wanted to find out what you think about this. I want to go ahead to deploy this solution immediately so that we can have water. Which of these people do you think that an employer will be happier with? He's the second person. He's the second person because the second person came with a solution minded behavior, unlike the first person. The first person just came and said, "There's no water." But the second person says, "I know that there's no water, but this is what we need to do now. I have two solutions. I think if we deploy this solution, this solution will come out 30 minutes faster, while this one will come in 2 hours. However, I think it's better we get water supply through solution A, for instance." Okay. And then, of course, innovations. Critical thinking has to do with innovations towards people being proactive, performance improvement, and then, of course, it must bring about profit. It must bring about profit. Are you making money for the organization? It must make money for the organization last. Okay, so I think that would be a wrap. I had to rush through this because of time. Yes, I think that's a wrap. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Mr. Ade. I think that's the last slide. I'm not sure. Okay, yes. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Victor, for that insightful and engaging section. Right, even personally, I've learned a whole lot. Right from the discovery of the problem, identifying the problem, as it relates to work and individual endeavor. Talking about the solution, we must know the why, the who, the what, the when, and the how, and how, as an individual at different workspaces, we should be value oriented instead of problem oriented, right? Because employers value people brings that bring solution to the table, not problem to the table. And what you mentioned, that a problem is a solution in disguise to a solution-minded person is very spot on, right? Please, for everybody joining us on LinkedIn, please drop in the comment section your questions, your comments, your review, your anything, drop it, and also your wishes to Mr. Victor on his birthday. Right, please do that. Okay, so we have them coming in. Okay, we have Samuel Ajayi saying thank you so much, sir. Okay, please let's keep our comments coming in. Your questions, please let's drop them in the comment section. We have Uko Glade saying thank you, sir. Okay, so let's keep our questions coming in so that Mr. Victor can attend to them, speak to them uh, as much as possible. Please let's do not hesitate to drop your comments. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. It's a pleasure hosting you, and I believe that we learned a lot. And I want to tell you that the recorded version of this section is going to be accessible to everyone on LinkedIn, and as well, the link will be sent to everyone that's joined this section today via their email. So you can catch up with any part or any slide that you miss, so that you can. The major reason for us um, designing this webinar is not for us to come and spend some time together, but more importantly is for us to action some of the takeaways from this section. So kindly make use of it. The topic is sharpening critical thinking and problem solving skill at work, and I believe that. Okay, so we have Samuel Ajayi saying happy birthday to you, Mr. Victor. Long life and prosperity, wisdom and impact. Thank you so much, Samuel, for that. All right, so let's wait a bit for other people to also drop their comment before we call it a wrap today. And on behalf of my team at Zero Resources, we also want to extend our gratitude and thanks to Mr. Victor for facilitating this section. This has been an eye opener to me, myself, and I believe to everyone that has joined this. We have a lot of people that joined us in the course of the section. We have, let me just say, we have Oshinto Gmolanriwaju that joined us. He joined is joining from Ogun State. We have some other persons as well, which we have Grace Oluwakunle that joined us from Adoekiti. We have Yewande, yes. We have Oluwaseun that joined from Ibadan, right? And so a couple of other persons as well. Okay, so we have a question, Mr. Victor. Um, we have a question here. So it says, as an administrative head in a student community, it is hard to get everyone together physically and mostly rely online for meeting among other planning activities. How do I improve the efficiency of my team members to be thinkers and proactive?
Okay, thank you very much, Samuel. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Okay, so I understand that you are in a student community. It's important that you know the idiosyncrasies of the average student. A lot of people have a very short attention span. So I like short meetings for me as a person. So I wouldn't know if your meetings are long or maybe they are not engaging enough. Okay, but generally, I want to say this: for you to have a more engaging session with your people, it's important that you identify, first of all, who are the voices that are the top voices people listen to. You want to have a one-on-one with those people, the people that are the top voices, that if they speak, everybody listens. So it's important that you have a one-on-one with the in-group. Once you get that caucus, you get their buy-in, those people, trust me, they will speak for you. So in a group of 10, there are usually some people that if they open their mouth to speak, every other person will just be quiet and listen. Those people, identify them. Once you have identified them, get their buy-in, have a one-on-one with them. With that, you would be able to influence the other people that are somewhat dormant. It happens in WhatsApp groups, it happens on Instagram, it happens on different platforms. There are two types of people. Some people are drivers, some people are passengers on groups. Okay, identify who your drivers are, identify who your passengers are. There are some people that if you talk to them long enough and teach, they can move from being passengers to drivers. Okay, so it's important. Now let me share a story with you. They share your name is in the Bible, self Samuel. So let me share a story with you. They sent some people on an errand. There were 12 of them. When they sent these 12 people on an errand, 10 people came back and said, no, this land, there are giants in the land. We cannot enter that land and possess it. If we go there safe, we might even lose our life. But there were two other people that came back and said, no, this thing that people are seeing as problem, we are seeing value there. That land has pomegranates, it has grapes, it has fruits, all kind of things. There is sweetness in that land. In fact, that land is a good land, and we are well able to overcome them. Okay, so guess what happened? The two people that identified the land as a land that was productive enough for them are the two people that entered into the land. The other 10, there was nothing for them. Okay, so quickly identify your drivers in your team. Once you identify those drivers, trust me, engage those drivers. You will look for me, you will give me your frame. Thank you. I don't know if I've answered your
All
question,
right.
Samuel.
Yes. Okay, Samuel, please confirm in the comment section if that answers the question. So we have another person here in the comment section. We have Tayo Timothy saying thank you for your everlasting impression and mind-blowing impact to your leadership style. All right. So we have a question from you and they saying how can we cultivate a mindset for creative problem solving? That is from you and they. Yes, that's a question. And you one there as well is saying, thank you, sir. This is really impactful. Okay.
Okay, fine. Right. Yolande, thank you very much for that question. That's a very good question, I must say. How do we cultivate the mindset of problem solving or creative problem solving? Bad news travels faster than good news. People love to discuss problems more than the solution. because problem has more gist and has more juice. Okay, so people love to discuss problems a lot of times. First of all, as a person, you must embody it. You must train yourself to see problems as solutions in disguise. The moment you are able to train yourself to do that, gradually it will begin to rub off on other people. Trust me, it will. In my team, in my office, anytime people come into my space, I said, don't discuss the problem. Tell me what you have in mind as solutions. Remember the video we talked about? That video we talked about spoke to how all the people in the ship started thinking on their feet. They did not leave the thinking just for a guy alone. Everybody is thinking. Everybody is thinking. And every time people come into my office to think like that, in my brain, they are scoring a point and I'm taking note of it. And when it's reward time, I want to reward those people more that have a solution mindset than those people that have a problem mindset. Okay, so you want to first of all start by A, you have embodied it enough and it is showing in the way you behave on a daily basis in your office. It's rubbing off on your team. When your team see you, they see Kai, this is Oga carrying solutions. And the more problems you solve, let me say this, it's very important. You may want to write this down. The more problems you solve, the more you strengthen your problem solving skills. You may want to write that down. The more problem you solve, the more you strengthen your problem solving skills. You may want to also include that as an appraisal parameter. How many problems have you solved this week? If you include that as an appraisal parameter, that would make people look forward to solving problems. You say you are supposed to solve a minimum of 8 problems in a week, one per day, one extra for an extra day. Let's assume the week had 8 days. So you want to encourage people to solve problems. So you put a parameter in place for solving problems and reward people that solve problems. Of course, you will guide them. Okay. I'm tempted to use the Bible again as an example. There was somebody that was used in the Bible. Took him to a place where there were bones. It's a problem now. It's a hopeless situation. They took him to where there were bones. Only bones, dried bones. There is no hope in a situation like that. But this is God telling the person, oh yeah, now, say something now, speak. Speak. Imagine if he was not solution minded to the point that he could speak. And then gradually, of course, we know the story, Ezekiel 37, gradually bone came to bone. And then before you know, an army was formed. And then Bible says that God breathed into the army, and then breath came. Anytime that a solution is not delivered, you want to write this down. Anytime a solution is not delivered, you have wasted God's gift. Write that down. Very important. Anytime value is not created or a solution is not delivered, you have wasted God's gift. You have wasted, because God put us here to solve a problem. God put us here to create value. We are all supposed to create value. All of us are supposed to create value. Now, let me say this very quickly as I wrap up this. Value is different from values. Oh, I need to say this again. Value, I don't know where I stopped before network threw me out. So I was saying something about values and value. Yeah. So I was saying that it's important that we know that values is not the plural of value. Value is always singular. Value is what you are bringing to the table. Value is what people are willing to pay money for. Value is what your employer is paying you for. Value. Values, on the other hand, are beliefs that shape human perspective. Values, on the other hand, are the way you see things in a particular way or the way you create outcomes. That's values. That's values. So your values will influence your value. Your values will influence your value. A wise man said that values are the things that you stand for. And if you are not standing for something, you are falling for anything. So your values are the things that you stand for, or the things that you are willing to even die for. Self. So values are the things that you stand for, and you need to have people with the right values on your team that have a creative problem solving thinking. You need those kind of people on your team. And remember this, you want to share this with your team. Anytime they fail to solve a problem or fail to create value, God's gift has been wasted. It will break God's heart. So you want to encourage them to make sure that that gift that God has placed in them to create value, they utilize it. They utilize it, because the reason why we're on earth is to create value. Is to create value. All right, thank you. I hope that helps you, Andy.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor, for uh, the answers you provided to the questions. And there is no other question coming in. And if there is any, definitely they'll be dropped in the comment section on LinkedIn. Need to be attended to. So thank you so much, everyone. It's our pleasure hosting you, Mr. Victor. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. And it's on this note that we're going to be having a wrap on today's webinar series by Zero Resources. And on behalf of my team, I appreciate Mr. Victor once again and everyone that joined this webinar. And I wish you a very long life and prosperity, Mr. Victor, in good health, uh, and many more years to celebrate. All right. So thank you so much, um, everyone. And on this note, I want to say it's a pleasure. You have you Andy saying thank you so much, sir. Okay. So on this note, we are going to call it a wrap, and I wish everyone a fantastic weekend and also an exhilarating Saturday. Thank you so much and have a good day.